We are twitching.
We're trying. We'll be twitching soon.
Oh, man. Are we streaming?
I think so. Should be.
Sorry, I got distracted. I finally found it. It figures I found exactly what I needed right when you started the Twitch stream. Or right when you started the overall stream.
That's just the kickstart from Murphy.
Yeah, pretty much. YouTube. Which, speaking of, if you guys want to be part of the conversation, come on over to YouTube. That's where we'll be chatting. We also do stream to Twitch and Facebook, but we won't be discussing there. I won't be live monitoring that. So if you want to be part of the conversation, please come on over to YouTube. There I won't be. Oh no! Oh gosh, sorry about the echo. Hold on. Please come on over. I suck. There we go. All right. Hey everybody, it's good to see you. Yeah. How's your week been, Steve?
Been good. I've been working on my Patreon rewards, all my goofy little tokens and stuff, and those are always fun because they're goofy and stuff.
All right. Well, how was your week, Scott?
It's I'm home.
It's been great.
We have a Scott. You should wave hi in the camera, right? That come about right here. It's actually probably time.
Here, I'll just do this. Hi. Hi, everybody.
You guys remember Scott?
From way back when.
Way long ago.
They let me out of the shallow grave in the backyard.
Cuddling with Wes's zombie. Because Wes told us that you were being inappropriate.
So we had to let one of you out.
It's boring in the grave.
I can imagine.
Scorpion Green says, hiya, Team Argyle.
Hi there.
And Anyo is on.
How is everybody in internet land?
Yeah.
Yeah, how was all of your weeks?
Let me see. Oops, that was totally the wrong thing to click on. I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Cats pushing buttons on computers.
I had the little floor map for Salt Lake City Comic Con up, and now I don't know where it went.
We just barely got our floor assignments for Salt Lake City
I'm
Fan
going to try to tell you
That's
guys about Salt Lake City Fanex, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know where it went.
And when I say just barely, I mean like email came in and we just saw it as we were sitting down to do Sketch and Scotch.
Yeah.
So we're excited to find out too.
That's what I was joking about, is that I've been trying to find a floor map, because they gave us a number, but I didn't have a floor map. So I've been trying to find a floor map, and of course, the floor map finally loaded as soon as the stream was ready to start. Oh, there.
Do you have a scoodle for me?
Oh, pressure. Let's see. First thing that comes to mind are, well, the Tokyo thing. Squirrels destroying buildings.
Squirrels. Squirrels.
Sorry, that's the first thing.
Does it have 2 R's?
2 R's.
Photoshop needs a spell checker for my handwriting. Squirrels.
Feel free to psychoanalyze me, but that's the first thing that came to mind.
Destroying buildings.
Let me put us right next to the Argyle.
Oh. So I guess we'll be right next to the art show.
The sound you hear is the sound of Kat literally banging her head on the desk as she looks at this map. And hopefully you guys are okay drawing squirrels. If you don't,
I want to draw squirrels. I think it's fun.
If
You want
don't
to take
like
over?
squirrels-
You trading for this week?
No, I'm typing emails. That's why I'm happy Scott's here, because then you have someone to talk to.
I'd say if you're not a fan of squirrels and
Oh,
other small
my
cute
G-Doc
rodents-
is locked. Hold on. Can edit. Done. Okay, I unlocked the G-Doc. Sorry, guys. Have fun. Yeah.
watching this take shape on the screen here. I was like, it's a lamppost. I'm still looking for a squirrel. No, I think I see it.
Scorpion Green says he wants to get a Nev's disc altered to be a Totoro being a jerk.
Is that in response to our Tokyo thing?
Yeah, probably for our whole experience with Totoro being a jerk. Dan did a commission for someone, and Poison Stripes went back to the gym.
Nice.
All good things.
I work out on and off, but I was really good last week, which means everything hurts and I'm dying.
Yeah, I did a really wicked leg workout today, and I know I'm gonna regret it the next 2 days. It's gonna be terrible, because I can already feel like I can barely take myself upstairs just today, and I did the leg workout today. It's gonna be a nightmare.
I want everyone to know that I drove past the gym today. It was there. It had a lot of weights in it.
But you ate healthy. I mean, it was only like a whole cup of frosting we
Oh my
had just
gosh,
now.
I can still feel sugar floating around in my face.
Our new neighbor moved in next door, and she brought a giant mug full of, it was
It's
brownie
so it's
layered-
frosting, then brownie, then frosting, then brownie, then
And then-
frosting,
and then ice cream.
then ice
Ice
cream.
cream.
It was awesome, but I may die.
I feel my pancreas leaking out of my body.
Kristen says she was doing 53-pound kettlebell today.
Oh.
Wow. I don't do 53-pound anything.
I will do a 53-pound bag of, or I guess tub of red vines
Okay, I'm down with that.
in one
program.
sitting.
I could get on
Steve
that
said
exercise.
diabetes.
God. And I have to be careful because it runs in my family. So, but I love sugar so much. So much. That's half the reason I work out. Like, I really identify with Brigitte from Overwatch because I work out so that I can eat. Not necessarily to stay trim or whatever, because that's kind of what helps fight the eventual diabetes, is staying in good shape and keeping your insulin sensitivity high with plenty of exercise and such. There's your serious moment for the show.
This message brought to you.
By diabetes. And
I was thinking like the
Trying not to
National
get
Health Council or whatever.
Yeah.
Now you know.
and knowing is half the battle. How many people are old enough to know where that comes from on our stream? Half the time I make these references, I realize yeah, that was a thing when I was 7, so it's probably not a thing
You know,
anymore.
that was relevant a long time ago. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyone gets to? Are you gonna scoodle?
I actually brought paper. I'm gonna run and grab my paper.
Yeah, you gotta scoodle, dude.
I realized with pop culture references, it's not that. I mean, as we get older, we kind of quote older stuff because that's what we grew up on. But it's also Like, I would quote newer pop references, but I can't remember anything.
Yeah, I don't know any of the new ones. Like people will reference, like modern popular music.
Yeah.
And it's stuff I've never heard of. I'm that out of touch.
Well, even like, okay, like Infinity War, like pop culture references from Infinity War. Great, I saw it, I liked it. I can't quote a single line from it. I don't remember anything. I liked it, but so I'm just out on the pop culture references because the brain is like, no, I don't remember.
I wonder if part of it is that like the 80s just had more quotable things, partially because it was a little goofy and maybe over a little heavy-handed, but also that you had to carry more with dialogue back then. Because I'm the same. Like, I thought Infinity War was amazing, and I can only remember, like, if I think hard, I can remember lines, but not stuff that you would use in common conversation.
Oh, because I remember laughing at a lot of it's like Thor and Rocket Raccoon's conversation. The whole film is amazing.
Yes.
And I would probably quote a lot of that if I could remember any of it. And I can't.
Well, also, you get in trouble if you say best of luck to all you morons. I mean, that was great,
But
and I loved that so much because that's classic comic book Thor, where he's trying to be nice and he's speaking eloquently. He just doesn't know the lingo, so he doesn't know he's insulting them. He's just
It's like in Rick and Morty where it's the world peace.
Peace between worlds.
Peace between worlds.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
We're doing a fitness challenge at work, and one of the teams is named Peace Between Worlds. So, it makes me laugh. And so, yeah, we're doing a fitness challenge, and that's why I didn't eat the diabetic coma that was the awesome brownie thing that arrived today, because I can only eat sweets once a week. And I'm saving it up because it's my belated birthday dinner on Sunday for Steve's mom, who's making me peach cobbler. I'm so excited to put it in my face, and so I'm saving up my sweets time for that.
My mom makes a great peach cobbler.
Yes.
alright, squirrels destroying buildings. I guess I set myself up for that. Alright.
Yeah, there's no one to blame but yourself on this one.
Oh, Esther also did the saddest quote ever when you guys were coding things.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so well.
Oh, that was
Really, Esther Oxo? Someone had to go dark, I guess. That's how it always goes. No, Kristen, I am not getting pudding cake from your mom because everyone gets pudding cake. I'm not wasting it for the pudding cake. Peach cobbler.
Kristen, I'll take hers.
Yeah, me too.
Peach cobbler. No, you're not getting pudding cake. You're getting peach cobbler. I'll take your peach cobbler if you don't want it. There. My birthday, my peach cobbler.
That makes sense. But Kristen, I'll still take the pudding cake. Alright. Squirrel.
I love good peach cobbler. Sadly enough, peach cobbler, any cobbler is something that you could do really crappy or really amazing. Steve's mom does it freaking amazing. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But I'll go to restaurants thinking it's going to be like Mom Argyle's peach cobbler, and it's not. And I'm always disappointed. Poison says she grew up on 90s slang and such.
So I can still kind of do 90s slang because I was like college. So I was still kind of hip. To quote an even older word.
I'm hip. I'm cool. See?
Yeah,
We're
I
close.
get some of the 90s slang and anything from Invader Zim.
Oh gosh, yes.
That's super quotable.
I more and more I feel like Captain America was like, I got that one. I got it.
How old is Black Widow? Because she's super soldier serum too, right?
Yeah, she's old as well, but I don't know. I don't think she's as old.
Yeah, I don't remember, but there's like a trivia nerd in the back of my brain that's being like, wait, she's older than Captain America, which I don't know if that's actually true,
I don't
but
think she is.
He was the first super soldier serum, right?
first
Yeah,
American
he's the
super
test.
soldier at least.
Ah.
True.
Because I know she's not 30.
Yeah.
She's got some kind of enhancement which is why she can keep up with Captain America, and why a love interest with the Hulk isn't immediately off the table.
Sorry, I'm trying to write back to Comic-Con.
Dear Comic-Con. How do I love thee? Let me count the way.
Can you tell the difference between these greens? Crap.
So what was the last con everybody went to?
Gen
Or
Con.
what con would everybody like to go to? Yeah, you guys are at Gen Con.
Cons I would like to go to. That's an interesting one.
There's a Japanese con you want to go to, right, Steve?
Is there?
You want to go to one in Tokyo?
Oh, well, yeah, there's the Tokyo Game Show, I think it's called. But that's still a gaming convention, just in a cooler place. I'm trying to think of like subjects I would love to do a con about. When I was a little younger and I was more into music, I always wanted to do the National Association of Music Makers convention. That was before I ever went to conventions, so never did that one. I don't know. Because most of my interests fall in line with the conventions we already do.
That works though.
Oh yeah, it totally works. I'm spoiled as hell.
And how about you guys on internet land? Like what con have you been to, or what con do you want to go to? Like what's on the bucket list of cons? Or what con doesn't exist but should?
Chocolate Con.
I think there is one.
There is one. There was one in Salt Lake.
Huh?
And we went and we ate all the chocolate and it was great. They did it 2 years and each
They
one
still
was
do it, but it's like integrated with a bunch of other stuff, and it's not as epic as it was at first.
Yeah, the first time we did it, it was awesome, and then the second time we were like, this is more like just an everything con. Like
Chocolate.
yeah, because
Sounds alright.
you know how there's the local sort of everything cons where they say it's got a focus, but it's just the stuff that you see everywhere. Where it's phone companies and grocery store chains and all that, where they just show up and are like, you should be on our cell phone plan, and it doesn't matter what the convention is, because like if you go to Comic-Con, why would you care about T-Mobile being there?
Right.
But they're there at every con.
Unless they give out like awesome swag.
And the last chocolate one that they did, like I guess they do it every year, but we went to one, and then the second one was basically that. It was like, oh, here's all your local grocery stores, and here's the phone companies, and here's the internet companies, and the heating and air conditioning companies. They're all here just because it's a convention and there's an audience. But the first one was just wall-to-wall chocolate, everything. They had chocolate you could brew as coffee. They had chocolate like soap. They had chocolate. Don't ask me what you do with chocolate soap. I mean, I would not eat soap, even if it were chocolatey.
I don't know.
I don't understand.
I would swear a lot, so my mom would wash out my mouth.
Yes. Our mom used Tabasco sauce, at least for a little while. And then there was a little bit of a Tabasco overdose incident. And
Oops.
then what
One
did
that
she
it
do
could put
after
on his
that?
face and it burned him.
Oh.
Because capsaicin is
It's a blistering agent.
yeah, it's a blistering agent. So
My mom never did that because she would have had to eat way more soap than I ever would have.
My mom is a saint who never swears, and still to this day gets after us for swearing at our family dinner and stuff. And me and my siblings, we've just gotten to the point where we don't even realize we're doing it anymore. So, but our mom puts up with us anyway because she's a sweet lady.
Your mom's a mama bear. Of course she'll put up with you guys. Ms. Nokomis said that you made their first Gen Con the best. Thanks for everything.
Oh, awesome.
And said you too. Thank you. It makes me so happy. Astro also says Gen Con's my favorite. Janet, or is where they want to go. Janet's saying Dragon Con. Poison Stripes is of course saying BaltCon. Poison Stripes' crew at BaltCon.
Oh.
Astroxo was sad that they didn't get to see you, Scott.
Sorry, I was buried at the other side of the convention floor from where these guys were for most of the time.
Janet, by the way, said that originally in the comics, Black Widow was born in 1928.
So that's not older than Cap, but getting there, right? Because Cap was World War I soldier, right? So he was a teenager in World War I.
I thought he started.
Cappy just made it!
Was it?
Yay!
I thought he started in World War II.
Was it World War II?
His comic book started in World War II. It doesn't mean
Oh.
the character was.
I don't remember exactly.
Because this first one's punching Hitler.
Sean and Carrie
Right.
Johnson are saying they want to do Gen Con someday, but the crowds cause some anxiety. The crowds at
It's a
Gen
very
Con are
friendly
not
crowd.
as horrible as the other places, and even though there are people, like, I don't know why, we've talked about it before, but it always feels like friend con. These are your people. It's not as horribly crushing as a Comic-Con.
Yeah, like if you've ever done San Diego Comic-Con, it is not, it's night and day difference, right? Because San Diego has a feeling of, yeah, you're all kind of there for the same reason, but it's also competitive, and everybody's trying to get places, and it's crowded and it's crunched. Whereas Gen Con, even when it's crowded, which it's not nearly as,
Wow, I'm surprised that I don't remember how I said it, so Ms. Nakomi said extra points for pronouncing Nakomi's right. I hope I'm now pronouncing it right and didn't mess it up. Now I'm all paranoid.
Yeah, Gen Con's definitely more chill than San
It's
Diego.
FriendCon.
Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, there's a lot of people, but it's. I like both cons, but for entirely different reasons. Like, I like Gen Con because people are chill. It's, and I like San Diego because of the madness. Like, it is insane. It
Yeah.
really is.
I think I want to start going back to San Diego, but not as an exhibitor. Just show up for a day or two, go see the things I want to see, say hi to the people I want to see, and then go home. Because it's such an overwhelming show.
Mm-hmm.
And as an exhibitor, we had no end of. It's just a hard show to do because when you're an exhibitor, you don't get to go do any of this stuff, right? Because you have a booth to work, and if you don't work the booth, then you don't make any money, and if you don't make any money, then you spent a lot of money to be there for no good reason. And so we would like be excited, and we'd be checking all the hashtags and stuff, and we'd see all of the stuff that everyone else was doing. But we were just working our butts off to break even, basically, most of the time. And what is interesting is, what I was told, and this is true, is you go to Comic-Con to make the connections, not necessarily to make money. But all of the connections that actually panned out, that did well, that eventually I was like, I am so glad that I met these guys at Comic-Con. None of them have been as an exhibitor. It was all the 1 year that we went to check the place out and to make the connections to get a booth.
You, by the way, need to get back to...
Speaking of
Yes. And so I just kind of want to go back as a regular, stress-free, if there is such a thing even at Comic-Con, as a regular person, or maybe show up and surprise the magic room and do some signatures or something.
for anybody that is interested in going to San Diego, the other thing is, even if you can't get passes because they're so hard to get, like it's such a big show that there's just as much going on outside as there is on the inside. Like honestly, there's all kinds of events, and half the vendors have booths. Not, I shouldn't say vendors, but like studios and stuff will have things outside.
Yeah, and like the magic event's not in the exhibit hall. It's all the magic stuff is in the Marriott, right?
Yeah. If you want, that's true. Yeah. If you want to any of the gaming stuff, you actually don't need a badge at all to get into. So.
Poison was saying that she felt totally overwhelmed at GP New Jersey, but we helped her pull herself together and relax. That makes me happy.
Nice.
She was awesome to hang out with in New Jersey. That was super fun.
Yeah, are you going to the New Jersey that's coming up soon?
We're not, so don't
well,
be
we're
teased
not,
like that.
But some of our friends are. And like Mike Burns is going to be there, and I think it is his second GP. No, wait, I think it's his second anything. I think it's his second Magic event, but it's first GP. First or second. Anyways, point being, if you go, you can go say hi and make him feel welcome. I don't think you know Mike Burns.
We have a neighbor named Mike Burns, and so you're really freaking, like, right there, kitty corner, his name is Mike Burns.
Well,
so
unless
that's
he's a
the only Mike
professional
Burns
magic
I
artist.
know.
I met him at the illustration masterclass, so I think he was at Gen Con, but I don't think we actually got a chance to. We were very busy at Gen Con. We didn't get to see all the people we wanted to. But we had a super good time anyway.
Snokomis is saying MagFest is great and cheap too.
What is MagFest? I am not familiar with it.
Poison is saying BaltCon is less stressful. I think their 50th anniversary coming up. I don't really see a squirrel in there yet, Steve.
Is it squirrel? This is a squirrel. He's the one who's running their giant robot that's stepping on buildings. It's a work in progress.
You got 30 minutes left, buddy.
She's ADing you.
Music and Gaming Fest in Gaylord, at the Gaylord in Maryland.
I would ask, like, what's the weirdest convention anybody's heard of? But I've heard of weird enough ones. I don't think I want to know about any other weirder ones. I mean, I love that even the oddest, most obscure kind of hobbies find their people. But there are a few that I've heard of that genuinely scare me. So. And I'm a pretty accepting person. Not to say, like, yeah.
I think some of it's the stories we've heard, but we won't tell those ones.
Yeah.
We get some of the behind the scenes on some of the conventions, so yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a PG stream, is what Jonathan Lau was saying. There's that, and you know what? I don't want to knock on anyone's fandom.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's more what it is. We bend the PG stream idea. It's more that people should be allowed to love what they love, and I don't want to judge people for it. And people should have their fandom and like it. So I might think something's strange, but I'm not going to knock it or call it out, because people should still be allowed. People should feel like they have their people and their place and their representation and fandom and stuff. And so I don't want to like knock on anyone's fandom.
I also can't call anybody weird because I have absolutely no wiggle.
There are some things that I will straight up call out. Like, don't get me wrong. But if there's just fun little things that you like to do, ain't hurting anyone else, do it. Do what you love. We have a very big philosophy, like, if someone's trying to make fun of a cosplayer or something at a show, we'll call them out. Because that is your safe place. Conventions are a safe place. You should be able to dress up as whatever you want and feel happy and okay in your fandom and safe at your convention.
Absolutely.
And so I will call people out for that.
Keep the cons fun, because they are fun. I'm always sad when a con ends. I'm tired, because it's so much work by the end, but I also I really have post-con depression. Like, oh, I miss all the people, all my nerds.
I'm the same way. Like, I almost wish you could somehow spread a con out, right? Because the hard part about it is you're going all the time.
Yeah.
For us, it's 6 days minimum. Even if it's a 4-day show, you know, we have a whole day to set everything up, and there's travel, and there's all the things, and so it is exhausting. But you don't. It's like you just want to take a nap and come back, but you can't.
I wish we had more nap times.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Poison and everyone is saying, yeah, people should be able to dress up like they want. There's only, and I won't even bring this one up necessarily. There was one cosplay at San Diego Comic-Con where I was like, really? Really? But, yeah. Yeah. And Steve knows exactly what it is.
I do love watching the cosplayers though, because there's so many really talented, ridiculously talented and very creative. You know, some of the mashups or the different takes.
Dude, Dragon Con is the craziest for witty cosplay.
Yeah.
They are the best for really witty cosplay.
So that is on my con bucket list.
Sure. San Diego has awesome cosplay, but straight up, but witty cosplay, you want mashups, you want play on words and puns and stuff like that. Dragon Con is your place for it, for just freaking witty cosplay.
It will happen. It will happen. I'm getting there someday.
I'll be there in 2 weeks if you're not busy.
What con? I'm lined up to work a con. We're spoiled, right? We have so much choice.
I kept giving, Tim is one of our favorite people in the world, and he is a, he didn't like the official title I gave him, but he basically is a event coordinator.
He makes events happen.
Yeah, he's an event coordinator. We got to know one of my favorite people ever. He's the one that actually last week was telling us, we were talking last week. Last week they drew chicken dinosaurs. That was the Scoodle.
Oh,
that was the Scoodle last week.
That's fantastic.
Because Tim was telling us about the genetic project.
Yes.
And so we told Sketch and Scotch about that. So anyway, Tim is one of my favorite people. Where was I going with this? But we keep introducing him to our very awesome friends, and he keeps stealing them as employees. And so, we introduced Scott to Tim, and now Scott works for Tim, and that's part of the reason he's not here at Sketch and Scotch anymore. Part of the reason.
Partly. I'm mostly done corporate.
Partly it's my smell.
And then there's Steve's.
And then Scott, we introduced Jacob to Scott and Jacob to Tim, and now
I stole Jacob. That was me.
And then Scott stole Jacob and got him working for
for PlayFusion.
For PlayFusion, being all fancy pants working there. And I keep introducing. I was giving him crap at Gen Con for stealing my friends, stealing my good employee. And then Janet now is moving to Seattle, and she's talking to Tim about maybe working with him a little more.
Be close to home, yeah. Or to
to that. And so it's like, Tim! Ah!
Talent poaching.
Oh, Astroxo said, kind of summed up Gen Con. Gen Con was their children's first convention, and it is a good first convention for a kid, by the way. And I believe that he's quoting Kat's BFF. And he said, and her statement was basically, I like how everyone can be who they want to be at a convention, and everyone accepts them.
Yeah, it is cool. That really
he did say before that he was quoting Kat's BFF. That any convention should be like that. Any nerd convention is how I'm going to put that, because I'm holding. We're all nerds here, and I'm holding us to that standard. We should be able to enjoy what we like. And so I totally love that. But Gen Con especially is these are my people. You could just turn to anyone. It's FriendCon because I could turn to a random stranger there and we could have a whole in-depth conversation about some part of nerddom. Like we're just best friends. It's so fun.
Jacob was giving me a hard time. He's like, you said hi to everybody. I was like, I did? He's like, yeah, you got in the elevator and said hi to everybody in the elevator. I'm like, I did?
That doesn't surprise me one bit. We were telling them the other week that you can make instant friends with anyone in any language.
If they speak nerd.
The universal language.
Did I ever tell you?
And Astroxo put it well. He said, through the eyes of a 12-year-old, it was pretty awesome to hear the whole being able to be accepted and be yourself at a con. Yeah.
Oh, it is great.
Ms. Nakomi said Gen Con was their son's first con, too.
That's such a good one.
Yeah.
We keep trying to get my brother to come out. He's our board game fiend.
Mm-hmm.
He collects them. He had a whole closet for all of his games. I think he may have graduated to a room, an entire room.
No, they've been moved to the garage because he got a house. So they're in the garage. He has a whole shelf area in the garage.
The garage, the last bastion of most men's collections when they get married.
Steve, where's your collections?
Yours is an exception.
Around the room, is that what you're looking at?
Around the house, around the room, in our bedroom.
Yeah, well, you guys
I have lots of collections.
You guys don't have like the typical marriage stuff as far as like tastes in things. Though.
Yeah, and both of us, I'm even nerdier than Steve at times. So when he's like, Kat, I got this super awesome action figure. I'm like, oh, that is my favorite action figure ever. Oh my gosh.
You guys want to see one of the things that I did this weekend? Alright, I'm going to cover up the thing that is NDA.
Ms. Nakomi is saying good night. Night! Thanks for getting on!
But then I'll show you.
You covered up the NDA?
Uh-huh.
Wait, do we have any other NDA?
Nope. So you're like, I'm going to cover this thing
That's
and
weird.
Look at it.
We've teased him about it before.
If you can see, I put up little shelves for
all of our paintings that we've been doing over the portrait nights. That we moved Sketch and Scotch from to Tuesday, from Wednesday to Tuesday, so we could go to portrait painting night. This is what we've been working on, all of our little portraits.
So now they're not just in a stack on the table, but that's what Kat was talking about with my collections.
Well, and up in our room, we have like action figures all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, of course, awesome paintings all over the house.
So, which is great. Because like most of my buddies, like their wives are cool, but yeah, they're all...
They're relegated to
all
they're
their
banished.
toys are in the garage.
Garage.
Yeah.
My collection of workout equipment is in the shop, but I guess that doesn't really count because it's the only place you can really do it.
I think the only exception...
Except the elliptical's mine. So
we both
workout
have a
equipment.
collection.
I'm saying the workout equipment isn't exclusively yours either.
The only difference I have for my buddy is the one who has a pretty extensive... He's the guy who taught me to play Magic, and his collection is old enough and vast enough that it does not get stored in the garage because of the value of the cards.
Brandon has an awesome...
He's a special.
Yeah. Well, and he actually got this old school card catalog, like really nice library card catalog reader shelving system for his cards. It's really neat. And then he just bought a whole house and has all his nerdery stuff there, like all around the house. Have you actually been in...
The Cosmere?
Yeah, Cosmere House.
It's gorgeous. It's a museum. Yeah, it was just today. It was the first
Yeah,
time
I didn't know if you've done a tour around Cosmere House.
The tour today, and it was awesome.
Cosmere House is amazing.
I felt really special. I just wanted to see.
Those guys are super sweet.
Yeah.
Sean and Carrie say that their dining room is their game room. Both of them are big board game lovers.
That's cool.
And they actually have a huge collection of nerd stuff around their house that both of them have decided on and love.
So I think that's part of my singleness is finding a girl that I like that is willing. I'm like, look, I'm going to have this stuff around the house. I'm not putting it in the garage.
I'm going to have this new oil painting of Han Solo's Han Solo's blaster, it's gonna be front and center in our house.
It's going in, yeah.
And see, that should be your test, is if they look at it and be like, oh, Han's blaster, you're like, marry me.
Yeah, well, I did. Okay, confession, true story. I was going out with a girl, and we were just wandering around town, and we ended up passing this little nerd shop stuff, and I just peeked in, and she looked at a sign. It was Yoda, and unironically, she was like, "Is that Spock?"
Oh no!
Like it's funny if you're making the joke, but I was like, I can't go out with you anymore. I really can't.
We understand.
Because it's like, I mean, what are we going to talk about? So
how Spock is not Yoda.
That's not.
But maybe that was the sign that she needed someone because she was lost in the wilderness of not knowing the awesome stuff.
I did try to teach her. It was not to be learned.
Okay. Well,
so
as long as you try, it's the best you can do.
It's like, especially of all things, like if you can't talk Star Wars with me, then you probably can't talk.
I put in my application for Star Wars Celebration today.
So you can do a painting for it.
Mm-hmm. So, for folks who are not familiar, Star Wars Celebration is a convention where they celebrate Star Wars. And they have artists and stuff come out. But one of the interesting things, and the biggest reason I am interested in it, is as an artist who has worked for them before, you can submit an application and say, I want to do a cool painting of blank, whatever you like about Star Wars. And if they approve it, then you have official license to do that one work to display at Star Wars Celebration. And some of the stipulations that come with it are like George Lucas has first right of refusal to buy the artwork, and he often does, I hear. But for me, I just love the idea of you can have the licensing, so it's kosher, it's not fan art, it's licensed, it's legal, it's all that, but it's also whatever you want to do. Because I've done like 150 pieces for Star Wars, but and I have some pieces that I'm really happy with and are really cool. But a lot of them were just whatever they needed to fill the gaps in their game or their whatever, and none of them were hugely grandiose, awesome pieces that were just art for art's sake and just a narrative that I wanted to tell. They all had the end purpose of we are trying to sell a product. I love the idea of I can make high art for Star Wars. I can do just my thing.
Steve's been itching to oil paint recently.
I have
Our oil painting session went really, really well last week. I think the break was good. I don't know what it was. So have you guys ever had
for me,
it
it wasn't really a break because I was still doing them at the...
Yeah, that's true. But have you ever had it where like you're working on a skill and you're working and you're not... you're doing better, but then you have a pause for a minute, and then when you go back to it, suddenly that's when you're making your leaps and bounds.
It's absolutely important, I think, for any discipline is to take short breaks, not necessarily like...
No, and long ones don't work, but yeah, we had just 2 week. And I came back and Steve was saying this too, though, is that he just like was itching to keep oil painting, and his one picture came together super well. It's these two right here. The redhead. That one's mine and that one's Steve's.
This one, yeah, that's one you had posted on your...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing it, it would have been posted last Thursday on all of my various social media, which I imagine you guys are familiar with by now.
Part of what Steve is getting super itchy to do is an original Star Wars oil paint.
So you're talking about you're talking about painting for the celebration, and all I hear is Steve gets more of my money.
Sean and Carrie are saying, "Ooh, yes, please." And by the way, Sean and Carrie just described their front room. Oh. They have a Turkish Star Wars Episode 3 poster in the dining room, flanked by original MTG Orcish paratroopers painting and preschool planeswalkers. 90% of their art is nerd related.
Will you guys
marry me? That is awesome.
Adopt you.
Will you adopt me? Either or. Whatever works best for taxes, that's fine. That's That's awesome.
Yeah, they actually have a Steve Argyle ball. They're actually one of the few couples who have multiple Steve Argyle originals.
Yeah, they have quite a collection.
And they actually, when I talk about Steve Argyle originals, they've actually commissioned Steve for a digital piece for the cover of her book.
Okay.
And then they're
Which
going
we
to
did on
commission
Sketch
him
and Scotch, or at least we did a good portion of.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you remember when we were doing like the fabric and stuff,
again.
that's Sean and Carrie.
The chick in the space. You were looking at it because we were unveiling all the metal prints.
Oh, right.
It was the chick with her hand up against the space,
on
the
the
glass.
yeah.
That's the picture that was
That's a nice
Carrie.
one. You have the original of it? Yeah, that's a great piece, you guys. That's beautiful.
So they're the it was done for them.
Yeah.
So it's a digital original, but it was commissioned by them.
Yeah.
But they actually do have some small, real, like traditional art originals too.
Yeah, that was a beautiful piece. I know that's shocking, talking about Steve's pieces, but...
Dan says his home is not that nerdy. It's full of embroidery and antiques. He does have a collection of his favorite autographed items. Speaking of, it's not autographed yet, but it will be someday. Can you show him what Scott got for us?
Scott got us the coolest thing.
So pretty. Trying to pull that here. Hold on. Oh my gosh, so many layers.
All
You
right,
guys
so
ready for this?
can you tell what you're looking at? Is it just kind of small on screen?
Might be a little tough on screen. But yeah, let's see. I think so.
Yeah, pretty recognizable.
We've ranted and raved about them. We got one!
Those are the Therese Nielsen Planeswalkers from San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes!
Scott got them for us because he's awesome.
Yes.
Because
So
lucky.
Steve did sell his soul to Scott. No, actually, I can't say sold your soul because Howard Lyon owns your soul, and
For at least a little
Panda
while.
made a deal with Howard Lyon and GP Vegas to buy Steve's soul from Howard Lyon for 5 pounds of beef jerky.
Which she is working on
Homemade
this week.
beef jerky. She is working on it this week.
All right.
We were actually going to go to Howard's and steal Steve's soul and like leave another jar in place with a note in it that says, "You can't get the soul back until you give us 2 pounds of beef jerky." Because Panda's homemade beef jerky is the best.
It's good to know your soul's a tradable commodity.
Well, I'm glad that somebody wants it. I mean,
Well, because he's traded his soul Steve sold his soul to Howard Lyon for how to do the
oil stuff.
unicorn blood.
The unicorn blood
Oh.
signatures.
Gotcha.
So yeah, Steve sold his soul to Howard Lyon.
If you're going to sell your soul to somebody, Howard's a pretty good.
Well, but then Howard resold it to Panda, and you know Panda's up to no good with Steve's soul.
Yeah, that's why we love Panda. So I'm just jealous because I sold my soul in high school for a sandwich to my buddy, and it was an okay sandwich, but that's pretty much cost me my entire art career because I have no soul to sell.
Mm.
Astor also says he has 6 mouse guard prints upstairs in their living room and their bedroom. Dan says he does have an original the original bottle for My Dream of Jeannie, autographed by Barbara
really?
Eden.
Wow.
That's part of his fan signed collection.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And Astor also says the guest room downstairs has Futurama tin wind-ups and Futurama tin propaganda signs throughout the room.
Speaking of Futurama, is that new Disenchanted, is that what it's called? Is that out yet? On Netflix? You know what I'm talking about? It's this Futurama folks.
It's coming
Matt
soon,
Groening.
but it's like a medieval D&D sort of...
It's
Which
like
is right
a
up our
fantasy
alley.
story. Right, it's supposed to be making fun of the fairy tales or something.
Skeet says that happens to the best of us, Scott. Damn sandwiches.
Also, my buddy, another friend of mine, sold his soul at the same time. So our other buddy has both of our souls, And every now and then he is noted to be saying, I would sell my souls for...
Souls. See, I actually own a lot of souls. I had a harem in high school.
Yeah.
I was a king. I'm king cat. And so I actually had a whole harem. And so like Justin and your brother Brian and I think Gary even. That whole crew, I own all of their souls.
You still have them just lying around somewhere?
I don't remember where I put them.
She's just carelessly tossing souls about, misplacing them during a move.
So my scoodle, which is supposed to be 7 minutes, has been most of the episode.
Yeah, Dan was asking if you were going to do an art lesson.
So this is the, I guess, early warning for turning in your scoodles and squam work and stuff.
You got 10 minutes,
close.
Scott.
I just like watching. What?
Did you digitize that?
Me?
Did you get it into the Google Doc?
Do I ever get
Are you going to bother me and make me do it while I'm trying to get other people's stuff done?
Probably, because I've forgotten how I used to try to do it.
No, you never successfully did it.
That's fair, see? So, I need to...
Ski says his wife and him line up with their swag. They have a crap ton of armor and swords.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty cool.
Though
Though he said it's the MTG cards and art supplies that invade the living space. Yeah, that's how Steve goes.
Yep, and I'm getting more. I ordered a bunch of Card Kingdoms. We should just, since we never did our commercial break, we should just say, hey, they're our commercial break sponsor, Card Kingdom. I bought a bunch of the battle decks because we have friends and neighbors. That's what that was?
I saw that in your email, and I was like, what is this?
Oh, that's what that was. So, if you're not familiar, we have like a bunch of friends and neighbors and relatives and stuff who they like want to learn Magic, but
Steve's
kind of
about to set some children in the neighborhood down a dark MTG path.
I'm going to corrupt our neighborhood.
So they asked for it, and their
They
dads
did.
asked for their. So we
They just don't know what
honestly
they're getting into.
I had a neighbor, the neighbor dad looked seriously at me and was like, "Hey, I have a really big favor to ask of you guys." And I was like, "He's our next door neighbor." I'm like, "Oh crap, what did we do?" And he's like,
Are they going to start a pig farm, or did we do screw up, or what's going on?
He's like, "I need you guys to sit down with me." And he's totally serious. He's, "I need you guys to sit down with me and teach me and my son how to really play Magic." He's like, "My son's playing, but he doesn't really know all the rules and everything." So he's like, I kind of want someone who knows a little more about it to teach me. He's like, "So I want you and your husband to like sit down and teach us how to play Magic." And I thought it was so funny that he was like serious about it. He's like, I really...
He's like, sit down.
Yeah, it was awesome. And so we were trying to figure out how to introduce like boys that are like from 10 to like 12 to Magic. Because some of them can get it, but you want to give them an easy introduction. And they've been playing decks, but meh.
And all that we have are commander decks that are already fairly tuned, and they're complicated.
Super complicated, yeah. And so, so sorry, I'm giving that preface for what Steve did and how he's becoming the neighborhood Magic dealer.
Yes. So I ordered a bunch of the battle decks from Card Kingdom. I got the idea from the professor, and I'm super excited. But I kind of binged. I got a bunch because I also fully intend on leaving decks with them.
He still hasn't told me how many he got. He just told me he binged, and I was looking at getting 4, but then this and this, and then I binged, and that was terrifying. I still don't know how many of these decks are showing up.
I should just, like, when I get them, hide them around the house.
Just randomly find decks. And they come with like little tokens that they make too, which are pretty cool. In Card Kingdom.
Yeah, that's what they said. They came with two tokens each or something like that.
Sean and Carrie are debating what furniture they can get rid of so their MTG collection doesn't put them over their weight limit for their military move this month.
Wow.
Well, you can find couches anywhere.
Yes. I concur. Who needs a bed?
Like, I actually kind of agree with it. There's like stuff you've collected over the years, but furniture isn't not And sometimes it is. But overall, furniture isn't something you're like collecting. You can get it wherever you go to. It's those collectibles, those things that, you know, the magic cards and stuff like that.
So, what I was telling Kat about the binging, it's not that I want to have a ton of these things. It's that I know that it's easier to like get into and learn and get comfortable with Magic when you have a deck to play with the next person who's interested. So, there's a lot of father-sons in our neighborhood that want to learn and play Magic. And so I thought, if I have a bunch, then we can go teach them to play and then leave a bunch with them.
Yeah, and we can teach the dads to play with the kids so that they can continue to do that and we don't have to always be around for them to play.
That's good.
And that's what he kind of asked for, but when we were kind of looking at it, we didn't have a good real starter deck. Like, they have the starter decks, but I'm going to be blunt, the starter decks are not. They're not really balanced, they're not fun.
Yeah, the intro
these
decks...
ones that Steve got are simple, straightforward, simplistic, focused ideas that you don't have to have played the deck like 5 times to understand how it functions.
Yeah, they're thematic, but they're not complicated to where you have to like get used to how.
But they're
how
also
the deck
well
runs.
balanced too.
So I'm looking forward to corrupting our whole neighborhood.
Yeah. And so that's
going to a barbecue sometime next summer and having everybody playing Magic on the things while I avoid talking to anyone and avoid eye contact. And
that's good. You can eat all the barbecue while they're playing.
Watsy does sample decks and stuff, but to be honest, they're little starter decks and stuff like that. They're not that. We wanted something simple, fun, and enjoyable, like for Magic noobs and experienced Magic players, and that's what these are supposed to be. They're supposed to be fun for everyone.
There you go. So, for those who don't know, Card Kingdom takes a bunch of their existing stock. So these are pre-constructed decks that Card Kingdom actually puts together with their extra stock.
Mm-hmm. And they're really cheap. Like, no card in it's over like 10 cents for any one card, but they're these put together pre-done decks that they know are really balanced against each other and have these themes to them. And so they're really, really good little battle decks. That's what they call them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so they're a lot more fun. They're fun for really experienced Magic players to just do a really casual game, or noobs. They're a good balance like that.
And I'll just throw my 2 cents, my plug on Card Kingdom. They've always treated me really well.
That makes me happy to
I've
hear.
got a chunk of my collection through them. They were awesome.
That makes me happy to hear.
And if you ever happen to be in Seattle and get a chance to go by Mock's Boarding House, which is their brick and mortar, you must. It is absolutely a phenomenal game store across the board. Both of them. They have 2 in the area. One that they built into a pre-existing building. The other one they actually built from scratch. So it's totally to their spec.
Oh, nice.
And they've got restaurants. And it's really nice.
That's pretty
that
cool.
sounds cool. I hope to do GP Seattle again next year. Maybe spend a little bit more time.
Seattle was awesome and a lot of fun.
All right, so it's 9:00. So we're gonna start doing the reviews and stuff. But you guys asked for a lesson, so I'm just gonna walk through what I was doing here because it incorporates a lot of the things that we have talked about in various shows before. So hopefully, if you're a regular, you caught a lot of it. And since I always paint in way too many layers, we can just like walk through and talk about what is applicable here. So first, of course, is the sketch, and what can be gleaned here is a sense of narrative through perspective. Right, we're way down. This tiny diminutive squirrel has his, and of course he's. There are cartoonish exaggerations. If he were that big, you wouldn't see him that big, but you know what I mean.
But a squirrel was requisite for the sketch.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't really see him even in the end.
And
I was hoping for a cuter squirrel, like a more prevalent, cute, adorable, vicious squirrel.
So some of the design considerations, which of course I had to make in a split second and just get started was that I wanted this upshot of the people down here. You're at your normal perspective so that you can look up and see this giant robot monster.
We're like that dude in the corner looking up and screaming.
Having just almost the hint of a foot because it's so big, coming down near you or near this guy here. One thing that we see a lot of in beginners is trying to show the whole thing of everything and having things isolated against the background.
The whole robot.
Yeah. And one thing that I would like to impart to you guys is that the four most important lines in any given piece are the borders, right? These are the most important lines. They are, they don't just provide space for you to draw in, they engage everything in it. If something goes out of the frame, that is a relationship to the viewer. Depending on how big or small something is in relation to those four lines, says a lot about it. And it's a consideration to keep in mind when you are composing the scene. And we go back and watch. We did a whole thing on composition, and we talked about that a little bit. So in this case, I didn't want to show the whole robot. I wanted to show just the relevant pieces, right? Big foot. We don't need to see the other foot. And we want that upshot. Now, he could have been tilted more up to be more accurate in perspective, but then it'd be hard to show the squirrel, and so there's a little bit of that trade-off.
So let's have the suggestion of putting the scoodle, what the scoodle is next to the description.
Oh.
But I told him that's how it's a surprise to you, so you can't put it in ahead of time.
It is.
That's how I torture you.
I never know what it's going to be.
Maybe we can do that, and it'd make it easier for people to do scoodles. We'll talk about it.
And then the next step in any composition is the value composition, right? And this is the simple, quick step-by-step way that is not always the best, but it's a great way to start, which is you take light, you take middle, and you take dark, right? And
yeah, we talked about this a lot when we were doing composition studies.
Mm-hmm. And so you break them apart and see which one works best where. It's not always straight up like the things in front should be light and the things in back should be dark, or vice versa. Part of composition is figuring out what works best. But in general, separating things into value shapes, value chunks, even if there's multiple things in that chunk, and even if that chunk is going to have a bunch of little details and fiddly bits, it is often a very strong compositional element to group values together. And so I figured he's going to be a big dark thing against the light sky, and then we'll have some stuff in the background to provide context. So that was my light and dark grouping.
So guess who just got on the chat, Steve? Taylor just got on the chat.
Oh.
Who we were just talking about. He's one of the kids that we're going to teach him and his dad to play Magic.
That's
and
amazing.
We got decks for him and his dad and the other neighbors too to learn how to play Magic. So that's funny. He just got on there. I'm like, we were just talking about you.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was funny to me. I had to put that out there. Business just stopped in to say hi to you really quick.
Oh,
hi,
hi,
Business.
Business.
It was super cool to see you at Gen Con. Anyway, all right, keep going with your lesson. Sorry, I just thought that was hilarious. And this also makes me think of the Stevens, too, because we played King of Tokyo with them, and this reminds me of a King of Tokyo monster.
It needs to happen.
Yeah, so the rest is a lot of just filling in the blanks that we created. So if there's a light sky, well, we make it blue, and we throw a little bit of bounce color around. At first, and this is a little bit of a lighting problem in the end, but at first I was thinking I'd have sunlight coming right from the front. So we had a warm thing, and warm tends to pull toward the viewer, so it helps round things out. Now this little quick step is atmospheric haze, right? Also called atmospheric perspective, also called volumetric fog. There's a lot of different names for it, but the idea is simply that as you as something recedes into the distance, there's more atmosphere between you and them, or you and it, and so it changes to be more and more of the color and the value of the environment itself. So normally that is light blue because we're used to seeing sky, but it's whatever the environment is. So if it's a sunset, it'll be orange.
And I'm going to point out this a bit that Steve is not saying, though. Maybe I'm stealing your thunder on this.
Steal away. I'm made of thunder. I have plenty to spare.
A lot of these things that he's pointing out and that he did is to give you a sense of scale.
Yes.
So that giant foot, the way you're looking up at the robot but can't see all of it, that's to give you scale. The atmospheric perspective, it's far enough away that you're starting to get a little haze in between you and it. Or you just live in Utah where the whole state is on fire and it's just super smoky. Sorry.
Yeah. It was hard to see trees in our backyard a few days ago.
Oh, it was so smoky. It's red red air days for the last 2 weeks. Anyway, sorry, that's my little joke. But and so he's doing this atmospheric perspective to again give that feeling of scale.
Mm-hmm. Yep, make this guy feel like he's way up there, and like the top of his little rocket launcher is in the sky relative to you, the viewer. Then I thought, I totally changed my mind, and I thought, you know what'd be cool is if he was backlit and you can almost see the sun and it's kind of coming around. So that's where the lighting problem comes in that I never eventually solved, which is he has sunlight on the front and the sun is behind him. But it's fine, it's a sketch.
It's bouncing off a building in front of it.
Then I wanted to make him look a little more sinister, so big glowing eyes, or eyes, headlights, whatever. Darkened that sun a little bit because it was also detracting from what I was talking about a little bit earlier of that value scheme. I don't want anything on this squirrel mech to be so bright that it doesn't look like it fits on it anymore. I'm trying to, again, clump those values together a little bit. So he's generally dark and never goes too light because the light things are reserved for other areas, and it's part of how our brain distinguishes what's what and the relationships between things. Then I decided he needs hands. So I guess that actually, I did it backwards. I put a line layer down and then I colored in underneath it, which is a handy little thing. But I wanted to give him little T-Rex squirrel hands. And then the last little bit was just a little bit of polish, you know.
Playing with colors.
Yeah, and then fiddling around with some effects. Like this top effect here, it's fairly subtle, but what it is it's a gradient that goes from a warm color to a cool color. And it's overlaid on top of everything so that everything at the bottom is a little warmer and everything at the top is a little cooler. And that just helps push things back a little further, and the things at the bottom feel a little bit closer. And it works for the lighting setup too, because the thing that's going to be lighting the bottom, or the buildings from the bottom, is going to be the sun hitting the ground and bouncing back up. But the things up higher are going to be lit more with sky. So there's light blue higher up, and there's a little bit warmer color down low. Anyways, that concludes your mini lesson. Let's take a look at your scoodles.
Does anybody else out there in internet land, like Steve's like, this is step one. And like if I were drawing, I'd be like, I'm totally done. And then
This
like,
is step last.
and then he's like, here's step two. And I'd be like, I'm totally done. And he's like, step three, I would totally be done. And then he just keeps going and he keeps getting
And
better.
this is just like a simple sketch for him where
Right.
it's like, this is a finished piece for me.
Like my finished piece would be about 1 or 2.
Well, one of the things that we mention a lot is that the key to art is just to keep going with it. That is both in the sense of habit of you do one and then you do another and then you do another and another, but also within an individual piece. You can usually just keep going and making it more and more and more as long as it doesn't frustrate you too much. Because people will say, I can barely draw a stick figure. It's like, okay, great. So you can draw a stick figure. Next, just put some beef on it so that it's not a stick anymore. Then, put some clothes on it. Maybe put them in a
You
pose.
should make the squirrel on this more
pronounced, because you can't really see that
and
he's a
then turn
squirrel.
it into a token. I'm not
I
saying
could-
right
I
now.
could
I'm
totally
saying
do that,
that
yeah.
this could be a squirrel token.
It could. In fact, I have a squirrel token that I'm working on. But
Bam, done!
well, it was specified. They wanted a girl squirrel. They wanted to see what I did with a girl squirrel. That would be great. Just a big pink bow on there.
Put a bow on the robot. It's like boy, girl, squirrel, whatever. She's awesome and she's just destroying cities.
But I already did the squirrel.
It's a squirrel and a servo.
It's a.
Give him an extra.
Or
maybe that'll
it's
be
a
your next.
cyborg spy squirrel girl.
Oh, well, maybe this one can be your next actual commission. Your
It
next.
could. I like giant robots that are driven by adorable creatures.
Maybe
That
this one
seems to
could
be
be
a
your
theme.
next actual Patreon main.
Could be. Yes. But yeah, within any individual piece, you can just kind of keep going. You can always, and I don't want to say like keep adding things necessarily. It's not always adding, because that you can get into trouble territory where it starts to get cluttered, it starts to get over detailed, it starts to get overworked. But you can keep going on a piece. Sometimes that means simplifying it and saying, what don't I need? What is confusing? What is making noise within the piece? What is messy because it has too much going on? And you can...
I like that you simplified the city around. It's not needed.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot to be said for what can I take out of a piece to make it clear, make it simple.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Like we were talking more about how to do something cartoony, and
Mm-hmm.
cartoons seem so simple, but it's actually really hard to make something so simplified but still read well.
Right, it's an art to simplifying things.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Skeeth was saying that they've heard the gradient tool tip so many times and it just doesn't stick for them, but they've been trying baby steps. Keep it up, Skeeth. Keep trying.
Yeah, there's a handful of
Plenty
good
of
gradient.
charm.
Skeeth's a gradient tool.
Yeah, I use gradient tool all the time, but I do want to point out that it's a little adjustment, right? You shouldn't try and make it do any heavy lifting. It's a thing that will kind of pull your attention one way or the other, and it's about the point where you say, I need to emphasize this area, or I need to cool down this area, or I need to just do a little tweak to a big portion. That's when you break out the gradient tool. It's like I say, I'm sure some people do get some heavy lifting out of it, but for me, it's little tweaks. That's what it's good for.
All right.
Squam.
So, squam work. What was the squam work?
The squam work was everyday uses for time travel machines.
We were discussing and we were talking about more everyday uses for time travel machines. They're saying as a teenager to get more sleep.
Yeah, no, totally.
So here is Dan's. It's you forgot the salt when you're cooking. Dude, this is how I was today.
This would have been so good for you for dinner.
We were all cooking dinner together because that's one of our traditions that if Scott comes over for Sketch and Scotch, we cook dinner together. It's super fun. It's actually one of my favorite things. I was trying to say that earlier, and I guess that's a simple way of putting it.
Also
It's
one
just
of my
fun.
favorite things.
It's a very fun, enjoyable thing. And I just kept like missing little things throughout the thing, like salt and
Oh, we have to cook this before this.
I grabbed this, I grabbed this, I grabbed this. And so yeah, that is exactly what I would have been earlier today.
It would have been perfect.
Awesome. It would be great
Janet,
to
when
have
we were
a
talking
little-
about good uses of time, or simple uses of time travel, Janet was saying teenager for sleep. No, try parents.
Oh yeah. You put your baby in the time machine and just freeze time for a little bit for the baby. Because then it stays cuter longer and you can sleep.
How many parents would travel back in time and be like, no, we're not keeping that one.
Oh!
I think it's never that they don't want them. It's that they want a little less of them all the time. You know, they want breaks.
Pause.
It's
Little pause, yeah.
It's not that they don't want them. It's that they're just so much work, so constant. Okay, so that is awesome, Dan.
And Sean
I
put
like it.
second parents. Yeah. Yeah. We,
Poison Stripes.
the other one that we were
Catching
saying,
up on campaign 1 of Critical Role.
That's a lot
Basically
of
for
watching.
binge watching TV, so you don't waste all the time. Go back in
Especially,
time.
like, there's so much on Critical Role. Like, I don't even know how many hours it is.
So you agree with Poison that that's a good use,
Yeah.
a good simple use of time
It's
travel.
an excellent use.
One we were talking about too for time travel is just going back and re-enjoying some of your favorite dinner, like meals you've ever had.
Mm-hmm. Like the mantis shrimp I sent you earlier today.
That was
From
amazing.
Venice.
We had an amazing dinner in Venice. I would go back and eat that meal again.
I sent it to Kat because she needed cheering up, and so I
So I ran out of how do I put this to keep it
patience.
Patience. Well, as I put it at work today. I was like, I ran out to give at about 8 a.m. this morning, which is an early time to run out of
Early at
to
work.
give.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, Steve, I can't answer some of these. I can't answer these emails because I have none to give. I guess that's the best way to put it. I have none to give, and you shouldn't be answering emails when you have none to give.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I sometimes
I think
Get
everyone
myself
has
into
that moment
trouble
where they
with-
run out of patience.
and see like when I'm grumpy and I'm answering email, it's not that I'm like mean or anything. It's that I'm just too straightforward, and it comes off as maybe
Terse.
just terse, where it's like, here is the answer, done. Not
See, that's
like,
how mine
not
always
with
are.
a personal
Steve's always
touch.
so personal touch, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, answer, bye.
And it's not that I'm like super annoyed or whatever. It's usually I'm just like really busy and I've got stuff to do and I'm stressed about this or whatever. So I'm just like, here, fine, and then answer this and then.
No, see, my problem was mine was not the terse level. Mine was the I had none to give,
It's
and it was only 8 a.m.
beyond terse.
Nice, that's a witty one. So now we're on to the Scoodle, and the Scoodle is a squirrel destroying
Squirrels
buildings.
destroying buildings.
And it's the guy, the one from
Scrat.
Ice Age.
Scrat and the nut.
This is from Dan. Yeah,
And
he.
his stupid acorn that destroys so many things. Very nicely thought out. I like it a lot. He would totally destroy planets. And totally destroy buildings. I love it.
Here we have Anjo.
Anyo?
Sarah.
Aww.
I will destroy your life. That
That's
is.
such a cute little knife.
He's cute, but he is terrifying.
Yeah.
It's
Like.
so cute, but don't back away.
But I also I love the thinking clever touches of you can see the pins in the knife to
So
show you
it's-
how tiny the knife is. That's a really nice touch that makes him look even cuter because
It's such a tiny
it's
little
such a tiny knife.
I like his
you know that
eyebrows
he's like-
too.
Yeah. That is,
But yeah, funny little, awesome little things like that, little touches like that give people perspective. And we were talking about it with your
scale
robot,
cues.
and that's good scale use.
He's just cute. He has that.
And he also has that
Maniacal, but-
wicked little mouth. You
Yeah.
get this little turn up right there, and then it comes and curves up.
That's awesome.
That's the noise he makes.
Again. Very good.
Oh, oh, this one is
This is Astaroxo.
Astaroxo.
Oh, it's big. Hang on.
Oh, it's huge.
I'm sure there's a setting somewhere that I should know because I use Photoshop all the time that says paste to scale.
And that's a way that squirrels can destroy a building is if it's a sandcastle.
Ha
They look like they're having so much fun and mischief.
They do. This one looks serious though. He's like, no,
It's
I'm
evil.
destroying the sandcastle for purpose. There's a reason. This sandcastle needs to be
I know
destroyed.
you've been building this castle for hours today, but it's mine.
This guy looks like he figures it's made of cheese.
But they just look like they're having such a party at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So cute.
This looks super fun.
Oh, I wonder if the ones are so angry because the other ones are destroying it and he's the one that built it. Because that's how that always goes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Sulphurous
Like you've got
said,
crashing waves in the background.
Sulphurous said they didn't get to the Scoodle. Tuesdays are D&D night and they went a bit late. And it says,
Oh, we understand.
and he says he'll try next week.
It's a good
We
reason.
understand art makes life better. Please come and try. But if you can't, sometimes it happens.
But-
Life happens. But
Sometimes you have to D&D.
Mhm.
yes.
So, totally get that.
So we have a couple people. We have 2 people who have extra art this week.
Mhm.
Can we do the extra art this week, Steve, or do we need to go to bed?
You're the one who has to go to bed earlier than me. I'm cool doing it.
All right. So Dan has an extra piece in there, and it's already up. And then Anyo drew a picture for someone too. So Anyo, put that in the 3rd column on yours.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
This is amazing.
Whose is this?
This is Skeeth.
Good job, Skeeth.
Does this please you, my lord?
Oh my gosh. There's so much narrative to this. Like,
Oh, that's great.
it's a squirrel overlord evil. Oh my gosh. You can't
this
see.
is-
You gotta scoot the "Does this please you, my lord" up because you're
Cut off on the bottom.
My-
Well, no, it's not cut off. It's that his
Oh,
YouTube.
oh, that okay. It's that on the actual. Okay, I see what you're saying.
There.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So that goes back to we talk about storytelling in a picture. Lots of story.
I
love
they
that.
destroyed the
That's
whole
awesome.
city for him. Oh my gosh. It's like the Ultron of squirrels.
Now I'm thinking of like a gladiator squirrel. Are you not entertained? Which is another '90s reference. That
There
like
we go.
I remember that to this day, having only seen Gladiator once, twice.
So good.
But
Such a good movie.
ask me to
There
quote
are
anything
tons of
from.
things that I could totally quote from the 90s that I actually didn't even see.
That's true. I do have a good chunk of like quotes that I don't know, but my buddies.
This is the commission that Dan did,
Wow, Dan.
that he was working on for 4 days.
Nice.
So that's Dan's awesome commission. Good color.
He probably-
See, I'm so happy we keep pushing you on color and stuff. Look
Mhm.
at this.
Yeah, it's
You always
coming a
grumble
long
about
way.
the crazy complicated Squam works, but you've grown so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say like because it's been a while since I've watched a lot of this stuff, right? Like been able to see it, and Dan, that's like yeah, you definitely like jumping from the last time I saw you a lot. So it's nice.
Yeah. This guy's never eaten ice cream, not once,
Especially ice cream with
with frosting and brownies in it.
Brownies, yeah.
Oh, so good, so bad for me.
Yep. Alright, did Anyo get hers in?
Yes,
Yeah.
there it is. You can't
She
react
said
till
this
everyone
was
else
her,
can
this was, she drew Jimmy as,
see it. Is Mulan? Is it
new
Mulan?
character, Ling of the Mulan. Yeah, she said she drew Jimmy as his new character, Ling of the Mulan.
Awesome. This
Great.
this reminds me a little bit. Kat has had her own binging of recent. She's been binging on Try Guys.
Oh, try guys. They're
And-
hilarious.
And this reminds me of everything that Eugene has to go through.
Oh my gosh, I love Eugene. And he's hilarious.
He is. He's awesome.
Fourth concubine.
Yes.
Oh, that's
So-
awesome.
Good strong mind work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
very nicely
it's
done,
pretty
and
good.
it totally has the Mulan references, but a different
Mhm.
another person. And yeah, I agree. This totally does remind me of Try Guys.
hmm
I have been watching entirely too much Try Guys. So I worked all of Saturday day getting inventory done so that we can get crap ready for Dragon Con. Which, oh, by the way, just to let people know, in
2 weeks.
3
about?
weeks technically.
Is it 3?
It's not this
Is it-
weekend. It's not the
the
next
next
weekend.
weekend,
It's
it's
the
the
weekend after that. Is Dragon Con, and then the weekend after that
Is Salt Lake Fan.
Salt Lake City FanX.
So we're gonna be kind of busy for a bit.
We'll probably miss quite a few of Sketch and Scotch,
Yeah, distant early warning. We'll probably miss 2 weeks.
at
minimum.
least. Because we'll miss the one just before Dragon Con, because we're going to be flying out that night. Then we're gonna miss the one.
We'll be flying. Well,
back.
we won't be flying back in, but we'll be setting up our
No,
stuff.
we'll be flying back in because
Do we fly back in?
Dragon Con goes
Oh,
Monday.
goes till Monday,
so we'll come back on
right.
Tuesday.
So we will be
So
going
we're
on
flying
Tuesday.
back on
back in.
Tuesday the next week. And then I'm not sure if we'll do it the weekend after because it depends on who's still in town. We might have some.
Yes. We might still have
So
friends
Jason
in
and
town.
Drew are actually coming to Phoenix to hang out with us,
Perfect.
and they might end up staying a little longer. And so depending on if they're going to be around or not, we might end up hanging out with them and
Yes.
entertaining them. So I don't know. It'll be 2 or 3 weeks of
Yes.
hiatus.
So distant early warning, and we may give you just a really big squam work or something. I don't know.
Ski said, "'Tis summer, 'tis the busy season. I hadn't seen you guys since Brazil." Wow. But yes, and by the way, go watch Try Guys. It makes me laugh a lot.
It is pretty great.
The best episode ever that made me cry from laughing was although I guess you probably need to have more background of them before, but it was the sexy alcohol drinks.
Oh, that wasn't the one. The one that I liked was the state by state. Oh, that was just that was awkward. That one was awkward. But the 50 states.
Yes, they
drinks
go through
one.
the drink from every.
That one I really
they go
liked.
through the state drinks. That one was the one I introduced Steve with, kind of.
Utah's drink was
I was wondering.
water, because we have really, really strict and dumb alcohol laws.
So we can't have.
There were like 3 or 4 states that they drank water for because they were lame.
Dan
and
says that
one
we
of
should
them.
have Jason and Drew and Steve for sketch and scotch.
We may be able to talk them into that, but
We'll see
no
about it.
guarantees because that's up to them.
I guess actually Drew and actually we'll probably be picking. I was gonna say it'd be possible because Jason's actually coming back with us on Tuesday, and we actually get earlier on Tuesday. But Drew, we're probably gonna be picking Drew up from the airport because he's got a later flight.
If I'm around, then I can help with any of that stuff, by the way.
Are you gonna be around for Phoenix?
I will be here for Phoenix. I'm not
We
sure.
might need some help for
when.
Phoenix. Let us know.
I'll be in at some point. I just don't know my schedule.
Give me your schedule once you get it, because then I could use the help.
I mean, that look is when I get my schedule, it still changes. At the last. Yeah. Okay, but yes. So
All right.
all the binges.
Yes, since we've been talking about binging, let's squam work will be super
So,
villain
like-
binges.
Wonder Woman binging Real Housewives.
Could be.
I don't know. Sorry, I was
Well,
trying to think of the most absurd.
She
one
would
I
have
could
to
think of.
turn into a super villain first.
Or super villain. Sorry, you're
I
right.
think watching Real Housewives
Would
do
turn
that
her
too.
into a villain.
Yeah.
So sorry, super villains. All right,
Don't
let's
call me
think of
Diane
some.
anymore. I'm Dee Dee.
Super
talk about
villain
those other
binges.
superheroes.
What else would there be? Who would be the one that binge watches TV? Ultron.
The Watcher. He's not the one.
Yeah.
Ultron.
Ultron. He probably has already watched all TV since he kind of lives as the internet.
See, but I can totally see him as a binge
There's
watcher.
Blob. There's
But
Annie
Galactus,
Morlock.
Just eating too many planets.
Yeah, Galactus binge
Eating
eating.
the ice
Yeah.
cream planet.
Binge eating planets. That's a good one.
Craven the Hunter standing crying because he has killed all the animals.
Like everything's.
They're all extinct. Now I'm bored.
Sean put Chosen of Markov watching True Blood.
So there you go. That's my.
And so just find some. I could just even see Markov watching True Blood.
The vampire's going. This is so terrible. This is not us.
Soren binging on the Anne Rice novels.
Well, yes. You could do book.
Lestat just doesn't get it.
Just doesn't get me. You could do someone like binging on buying like little Funko Pops. Who would be a collector, like a Funko Pop collector? That's a bad guy. Yeah, the collector. That'd be cute. The
Mogo.
collector, but with
You
Funkos.
got all the Funkos.
MODOK could binge on buying like all the guns in the world, or something.
Fine.
Who's got the best Doomsday stuff? Like, I guess you could have Doctor Doom binge on.
He's not a super villain, but you could have Death from the Discworld have kittens. Just binges
Binging
on like
kittens?
having
That's
all
amazing.
the cats.
Yeah.
I love his whole
There's like a swimming pool
obsession
full of
with
kittens.
and how he is extra cruel when he comes and reaps souls if they've killed kittens. I love it. It's my favorite.
Just finished all the Pratchett books. I'm sad.
Oh,
Kristen says
that's a lot of
Soren
work.
buying
That's a lot to get
Cupid.
through.
Soren buying Cupid angels by the dozen. Mystique would binge Funko Pop, is what Skeeth said.
Liliana would probably binge dresses. She'd
Shoes.
27 dresses an hour.
Souls.
Yeah, can you binge on souls?
I think you gotta be able to.
I'm
I
sure.
mean, if you have Devourer of Souls, just by being able to devour, you've got to go binge.
Alright. Anyway, we'll be back next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Scott, are you going to be here?
No.
Scott will not be here. He's
That's
breaking our
kind of
heart.
next week. But we'll be here, and we'll see the rest of you if you decide to join us.
Yes!
Thanks for joining us, and remember, art makes life better.
Yeah.
So art whenever you can.
Make sure to art all the
Only
time.
good.
Come back next week and do our Scoodle with us.
Until then, TTFN.
Bye.
Sean and Carrie said another recommendation for a super villain binge would be QVC. The shopping networks.
Fine,
That would be
all
good.
the things.
All the cheap little things. All the after midnight. It'd have to be someone who doesn't sleep well. Cthulhu. Cthulhu buying late night like ShamWows and stuff.
Just buying everything.
I don't know what else he's buying, but I just pictured Cthulhu wearing bunny slippers late at night, and it's just funny to me.
Alright. Anyway, love you guys. Good night.
Bye. See you guys.
I really want a brownie.
They were awful.
That's a
They were
great note to end on. I wish I would have clicked earlier.
Right there.
Kind of want a brownie. Go.